This is Gino the announcer, and you are listening to the Barbell Program podcast with Peter and Alex. The bar is loaded.
At least I have a barbell through my head, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's kind of funny, actually. It's kind of fun.
Okay, welcome, Steve, to one of our quarantine podcast episodes. Steve, can you do us the honor and introduce yourself to our viewers?
I can, man, but I got to start with saying, hey, you guys, I've really missed you big time. So it's good to see both of you again. So to the viewers, my name is Steve Ringoot. I'm part of Team Belgium. I've been in the national team for quite a few years. And you know, what can I say? I'm eating both ways. I'm an equipped and a raw lifter, so it's funky.
I forgot you were equipped lifter too.
Yeah. It's been a while though. Like stuff happened. I tore my bicep, and that kind of came in between the lifting and stuff. Also lost a lot of weight for a while, but now I'm back, so I'm gonna start doing equipped again too. I've been doing both. For a while, that was like a bad combo, but I'm really, this year would have been perfect because, Worlds Raw was going to be in June, and then Worlds Equip was going to be in November. So that gave me time to, transform into the stuff again and, get into it. But yeah, now with Corona, it's kind of put a hold on stuff.
And also, it would have been a qualifying year for Worlds. Yeah. World Games.
But the World Games are postponed, right?
Yeah.
Postponed, yeah.
Nothing is fixed, and I have a good friend in Japan, and he don't think that the Olympic Games are next year. He thinks they're gonna postpone it another year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But
it's crazy, but I get it though.
What do you think about this year in the IPF? Do you think there are big competitions going on in fall or in winter, or do they don't do them? What do you think?
Honestly, I think they will because, one thing that has really shown recently is that our community is strong. I've seen people backing each other up, supporting each other, providing them with parts of their gym equipment. And I do think the IPF understands that. The big names like Gaston Parage, I think they really understand how close we are and how our world is growing. And I really think they're going to do everything they can to organize Worlds Equipped and Raw. At least those, but I think smaller competitions like Western Europeans and the Danube Cup, they'll be just canceled for the year.
Mm-hmm.
At least this year.
I think so too. I mean, I think they will put it on schedule.
Yeah, could be.
But what's the thing about you told us that you're doing equipped and raw. What I mean. All the listeners we have and all the viewers, I mean, I think most of them don't get the difference between those two styles in training. So what can you tell them? I mean, why the training styles, the training, let's say, principles a little bit different between raw and equipped, and why can't you go equipped after a raw competition and the other way around?
I can tell you stuff about that because for a long time I thought I was, big and bad and I could do both perfectly. I could match them both. But that backfired in my face big time because the thing with equipped is you need people around you, which wasn't really my problem, but it also takes time and the load on your body is enormous. So your recovery time becomes so much longer, and it's just that was the real deal breaker for me with doing both. Like, I could not recover in time. When you're training raw, you can really build up to a certain point and you know what your limits are. You could take a step back, put in a deload week. But with equipped, your build up when you're squatting 400, 420 kilo in training, that wears you down. So it's a different approach. I'm used to training squat, bench, and deadlift on the same day. But when I was doing equipped, that was just impossible. It would just absolutely destroy my body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were talking a few weeks ago. We were talking to Bryce Kravchik about pretty much the same, and he told us that he has his heaviest squat and heaviest bench day on the first day of the week, and it would fuck me up completely. Raw, it's no problem at all for me, but when I have to squat and then bench in the shirt, and when it's a heavy single or double, it's crazy.
But it is absolutely crazy, and I kind of do the same thing when I was training equipped. I was going to do my heavy squat and heavy bench in the beginning of the week, but especially squat, like on my arms, it was absolutely destroying me. And then to transform into bench, which really I always struggled with a bench shirt, so it was really, really, really painful. I also firmly believe the overload was what made my bicep pop a few years ago. It must have been that. So.
Mm-hmm. But do you think, for example, I mean, when you're going back in time, for example, 20 years, and you meet all those West Side type of training styles, they were big in equipment and still are. I mean, they are training, for example, kind of, let's say, different muscles group more intense than a raw lifter. For example, the upper back is very important, or the lower back is very important. I mean, they are doing, for example, good mornings instead of deadlifts. They are doing good mornings sometimes instead of squats. So do you think that, for example, in equipped lifting, there are different muscle groups that you need to train more or more intense than in raw lifting? Or did you do that?
I actually did do that. I worked a lot on my tricep power, like specifically on my tricep power, because when I bench raw, like, I could just take over, just have a really good pop when I bench raw. But I don't know, for some strange reason in the suit, whenever I had the pop from the shirt, I could never use it to make the transfer into locking it out. So that was something that I really, really did. And also, like, I don't know, like, I develop my chest more now. I put in more exercises for my chest now for my bench than I did when I was doing equipped, because the pop from your chest with a suit is actually, it's enormous. But for the rest, I actually kind of trained similar though. I didn't really add specific good morning exercises or deadlift exercises to strengthen my equipped. I also gotta say, equipped especially in deadlift, I wore a suit once at 2013 Worlds in Stavanger, and it just wasn't my cup of tea. Like, me and deadlifting in a suit, it's not a good deal. At least not for now.
But you
I
do
think
conventional, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing with the heavyweights, especially when they pull conventional stance. The deadlift suit is not that, they are not built for that suit. So probably your best friend David Lupac, it's pretty much the same. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. It's also lifting raw.
Yeah, you know what he did when World was in Pilsen, Czech Republic, deadlifting that 362.5 for the win raw. Honestly, everybody went on, everybody was standing up, everybody was cheering. That was a crazy moment. And I talked to him before, and I think he has the same problem as me. And indeed, this deadlift too, when you're conventional, especially when you're tall, I'm a lot taller than Lupac, so I don't really know what his deal is. But I don't know. I feel that my length, especially with standing conventional and in a suit, it really messes you up. It really pulls me out of balance. It just pulls me forward. And I know I've seen people do it, like Julian JK, like what he does with a suit, and in deadlift in general is amazing. I don't know how he does it, man. Like, either he's super flexible or something, but for me, it's a no-go for now. Maybe
probably for heavier guys, the fusion would be a good option and not the velocity.
Yeah, true. I've been trying to get my hands on one, but honestly, it's not easy. Like, it's not easy to get it in Belgium. Well, it's impossible to get it in Belgium. So I need to go to other countries, but haven't found one in my size yet. So.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Peter, for example, is training equipped lifting, and I never did that, but I'm kind of very, very, very interested in that. I'm not that I want to do it, but I'm super interested in coaching it, and I'm super interested in understanding it. But there is a point you need to do it if you want to coach it. I mean, I'm pretty sure you cannot understand all the things if you never did it. You cannot coach it on a high level.
I actually agree with you on that one. You see a lot of these people bashing equipped lifting on the internet. I think it's absolutely not done, because if you haven't done it yourself, you don't know what it is. It's not only the amount of time, it is indeed, equipped lifting is a sport on its own. You can't say, it's powerlifting. You have powerlifting equipped and you have powerlifting raw or classic, whatever you want to call it. it's not the same. It's not the same. Big respect for all the people who do it, and I must say, the equipped world international, it's one big family. I'm not saying it's not like that in the Raw. Raw has a lot of big names, a lot of cool characters, and it's gonna come, but it's still new. But the equipped world, everybody's helping each other out. Like I was a kid, coming in, and I had Blaine Sumner, Joe Capolino. They're the first ones to help you out. They're gonna squat 450, 500 kilo, but everybody helps each other out. It's those small tips and tricks that you get from them that really makes a difference in the long run.
Actually, that's one of the most important things in worlds, because you will never get this information ever in training or in books or out of videos. You will only get that if you're competing on or coaching on a high level.
True.
Coaching or competing on a world level is kind of different. You're coming home with way more information.
No, that's true. It also, especially in countries like in Belgium, there's not a lot of people doing equipped. So in the beginning, it was really a lack of understanding that made us make mistakes. We do got very big names like Orhan Bilikan, who took several world records. He became European champion multiple times. We have Jeroen van Eerselde. These are really people that have really deepened into the world of equipped, so they can really help you out. But still, we're 11 million people strong here in Belgium. There's only a handful that can help you out with equipment. And I think that's also why a lot of people, I know this is a pretty standard answer, but I think that's why a lot of people are just not hooked on it, because nobody's there to help them out. Au contraire, like, people will look at you weird if you start wearing a suit. Well, not me, because I'm big and mean, but other people.
Yeah, they don't look at you like crazy,
They don't give me the eye, man. They're gonna.
But you mentioned that you injured your biceps. I mean, what was that all about? I mean, what happened exactly, and what did you do after the injury?
Look, man, it was just really weird. Like, I've been playing contact sports my entire life. I've played basketball at a really high level. I never had any of these freak injuries, so I always thought it was kind of indestructible. And at one point in time, the idea was to work up until a 320 kilo deadlift, and I was really acting crazy. All my friends were there. At that point in time, Ed Pietersma, the former head coach of he's part of the coaching staff in the Netherlands, always came over on Saturdays with his daughter to train with us. We were a whole group. It was like 15, 20 people. And honestly, I'm gonna admit it, I was just acting out. I was just like, look how strong I am. Like, bam, 280, palm, 300. And with 320, I really pulled it. So, with such, I won't say velocity, but it went off the floor so rapidly. And I just completely lost control. And my the bicep on my right hand arm just popped. And the doctor said it was completely my own fault because I yanked the bar. And it took me a while to admit it. It was my own fault. It was just like, no, it happened. It was just, bound to happen. But it was really, really just my own fault. Bad day. Like, that was a day I learned a lot. Ever since then, I've been taking the sport way more serious. Just warming up, cooling down. It all became a big deal now.
Yeah. What was your thought? I mean, after the injury, normally, as you said, you don't admit yourself that you were injured. It's like with myself, when you get injured, the first thing is, okay, you are not injured. But,
yeah, that's the thing, and I believed it, but it was like, come on, man. I thought it was I didn't think I was invincible, but you're young, you're like, nothing can happen to me. And when all of a sudden you only got one arm and you have to have people help you, to wash, to put your clothes on and stuff, it really makes you humble. It really made me rethink about how important health in general is in life, because like you said, when you get injured, it's crazy. It really wears you down, especially when it's a big injury. You can hurt your back or something 2-3 days and you're back on track, but this put me down for weeks. So just
okay. Do you have still have some kind of do you still think about it? Yes, or don't you do that?
A lot of the time I started hook gripping, just to not put any pressure on the bicep anymore. And then I switched to mixed grip again, because I was like, look, if I'm not going to overcome my fear, it's going to become a problem. And no, I actually don't think about it anymore.
That's great.
Yeah, they completely reconstructed it. It's strong again. there's no problem anymore. But I do gotta say, you know, whenever something starts to ache and stuff, it does flash in my mind, and I'm like, look, okay, just check what it is. You know, go see your physiotherapist, your doctor, your people, because you know I don't want this to happen again. And I got lucky. Honestly, they told me recovery time was going to be about 20, 25 weeks, and after 9 weeks I was training again. So I got extremely lucky. My recovery process went really rapid, so can't complain.
Which is crazy because for the tendon, I would say about 4 months.
Yeah. Yeah, they put it back, and every week I went to see them, and they put me under a scanner. They took an echo to see how it was moving. It was just, and it moved really quick, and all of a sudden they said, look, it's healed, you can start. And also then it was really up to my people, the people around me, to really keep me calm, because I was planning on doing, just I wanted to be back. I just wanted to be there, and it was really, really, really hard to start, and really humbling also to start again, with a 70-kilo bench press and stuff. It's just really, it's tough, man. Especially when you love the sport like I do, and I know like most people out there who do it, powerlifting really gets to you. Like it's like a crush, it's like a love, and for me not be able to love, that was not good. That was not good at all.
Yeah, I mean, if, for example, do you think that when you are a trained person, like a strength trained person like you are, do you think you heal faster after injuries?
I do. I firmly believe that you do. I do firmly believe if you teach your body to recover, which is what we're doing on a constant base, your body does recover faster from bigger injuries too. I've seen it when I was playing basketball too. In the beginning when I landed on my ankle bad or my knee. I had a sore knee. My ankle a bit popped and stuff, a bit twitched. But as I grew in that sport, the same as I'm growing now into powerlifting, I feel that you recover just way better. I think you make your body used to it. And unless you do like really crazy stuff, like because I used to love going skiing with my parents and stuff. I'm not doing that anymore. Like I don't want to break my knee or something, because I know that's a killer for your career. It all depends on what your injury is, I think.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I hear it a lot of very often that people who are who are trained athletes, they just think that they are recovering faster, and they do. I mean, there are no studies about that, I think, but it would be very interesting if there is a study about kind of how fast can and kind of athlete, whatever sport he's doing, recover, and people, sedentary lifestyle people, and mm-hmm. I think they're recovering way faster. I mean, I consider for myself, for example, I consider myself recovered when I can be close to a PR again, but that's not the kind of actually you recovered when you can do all the things in life again normal people can do, and you are back really fast on that.
Yeah, true. That was true, and I gotta say, from all the stuff that happened to me in the past few years, I had other injuries, but nothing really stopped my life from continuing. When I tore my bicep, it didn't stop my life, but I only had one arm left, and that's something that makes you open your eyes. But I gotta say, other stuff, I've been, sometimes I tweak my back. I know other big men also struggle with it. Like, Blaine Sumner sometimes can just do a normal training squat and then tweak his back, and then he'd be out for a few weeks. Of course, I don't squat the way that he squats. Equipped, he's just, next level. But I do feel that sometimes when I tweak my back or I have something or sore knee or stuff, 2-3 days and I'm done with it. You just rest a bit, you take some gas off, and it's just, it works.
You talked about basketball and stuff. What brought you to powerlifting in first place?
Oh man, that's a crazy story. That's a crazy story. Like, when I was a kid, my parents were really into sports. My dad's really tall. Like, my dad is 2'3". My mom's like 1'80". So they were like, okay, this kid was wrong with this kid, because I was short. Like, I was a short, stumpy, fat kid. Like, there was no stopping me from eating. There was no stopping me from eating. And my parents were like, no, you got to do some sports. And I got into basketball at a really young age, and I developed really quick. And all of a sudden, when I was like 12, 13 years old, I started growing. like centimeters a month. It went so fast, and I started playing basketball and I absolutely loved it. And we had a great group. I started very local in the local team, moved my way up all the way to the junior national team, and it was just lots of fun. It was really fun. I loved it. But also at a certain point, I was getting, I was still pretty big, and you know, actually, Kobe Bryant said this prior to to having his unfortunate accident, of course. He was talking about Shaquille O'Neal, that he said, like, most guys, they don't want to be tall, they don't want to be big, but I wanted to be the biggest and baddest on that basketball field because I was going to hunt you down if you made a point on me. Like, if you dunked on me, I was never going to let that go. So I was like, I was a big dude. Like, I was tall, I was heavy, but I was kind of, I was kind of chubby, but I was fast. I was playing really well. And they told me, like, hey, man, if you're struggling with that image a little bit, why don't you go to the gym? And I went to a gym, and the gym I went into was a powerlifting gym. And whew, and did I fell in love with powerlifting? Like, well, and it in the end, it made me stop basketball.
So you, like Haftor did strongman, and you're doing powerlifting, and Phil Heath is doing bodybuilding.
It kind of makes sense. I don't think Phil Heath's that tall, though. I think I met him once at FIBO a few years ago, and like, he's not a very tall dude. But
no, he isn't. But Steve, when I'm very interested in everybody I'm talking to, I'm very interested in, are there some basic principles they are building their training on? I mean, not the scientific principles, but can be, but are there some principles you can break down your own training? I mean, what are the most important things when it comes to training for you personally?
For me, like, it's actually an easy answer. You hear the word a lot in the last few years, but it's consistency. Like, I just keep working for it. I don't take a day off. Like, I'm just trying to work. And also, something I've learned over time, you can't be arrogant. Like, you can learn from everybody, and I'm trying to learn from everybody. Like, you know me, I'm social. I talk to everybody at worlds, at competitions. But if somebody wants to tell me something, like, I learn, and I learn fast. And that's if you want to become good and you want to become really good, you got to learn from the best. So you got to meet the best. You got to see them work. You got to see them train. And that's kind of what I strongly believe is very, very important. That's why you know what the powerlifting world is all about. It's one big family. Like, I went to Nauru. I was invited there to compete at a competition, and I learned so much from Kimberly Walford, Mike Jason, Anthony Harris, who's an absolute legend in the powerlifting. Like, he's been around for years and years and years. And we were just sitting on the beach in this beautiful paradise, in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And sometimes it's just a few things they tell you, and you start processing it, and you learn from it, and it just makes you a better lifter. You really can learn from the best. So my best advice to everybody is, like, find yourself somebody who knows his stuff or her stuff, and just work with them, learn. Don't be arrogant, don't be like, oh, I know best. You'll know best when it's your time to know best. But just, be humble and learn. And consistency is key. Like, just keep building. And I don't take setbacks bad. Like, I really want to achieve something, but if I don't have it today, I'm just going to work harder to get it tomorrow. It's important.
Mm-hmm. You're increasing your total from year to year.
Yeah.
You were that close of a total medal this year at the Worlds, right?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was. Honestly, I struggled a bit. I struggled a bit with my health, so I lost a lot of weight. If I wouldn't have had that in 2019, I firmly believe I would have put up the next step, and I was ready for the platform. For sure, at Europeans and even at Worlds, like, I'm coming. And as I'm sitting in front of you right now, I'm back. Like, I'm healthy. I weigh 155 kilo again. I feel a lot better. I'm in much better shape, and I'm just gonna keep working. But I do think I have a solid problem at 155 kilograms. Nowadays, you're not a heavyweight. Like, I'm still the lightest of the bunch most of the time. It's just crazy. It's crazy.
But it's true, yeah.
We know you, and I just want to tell everybody who's listening and everybody who's watching it, I mean, Steve does look like an total athlete. I mean, it's not like a Ray Williams where there is a substantial amount of body fat on his frame, of course. But I mean, you are looking like an okay. You could also play in kind of tight end in football or something like that. So you are not that you are an absolute athlete and not a kind of fat guy, and that's different. You recognize that in the heavyweights. I mean, you have 155. I mean, it's not light, but they all are shorter than you and they are heavier than you.
But
I don't want to changes everything.
I don't want to interrupt you there, but it's when you compare equipped and raw, there's a big difference. But because when you look at the very good equipped heavyweights, they are also at 150, 160, and then it stops.
True.
There are some exceptions, but equipped is a bit more, is a bit different than that.
Okay.
There are no Jesuepas there.
No, that's true. That's true. It's only when I came to the Raw that I started seeing these really heavy people over 170 kilo. It's true. And the equipped, not even a handful. I think only not even Cannavaro weighs 170. I think it's only Blaine. And I can't think of anyone else that's over 170. Julian is but only recently. Yeah, he's touching 171 or something. So
yeah, Blaine Sumner is big.
He's a massive dude. Like he's wide. Like he's the widest person I've ever seen in my life. Like he's just out.
Insane. Yeah. He was once. In 2015, I met him in Finland at the Worlds, and he was standing beside Mike Toshiro. Mm-hmm. And I always thought, okay, Mike is a big dude. I mean, he's a 120, but this changed my view on powerlifting completely.
Yeah.
So in the open weight class, it's not 121 kilograms. It's Blaine Sumner big. This was insane.
It's true. And I'm gonna tell you something. Like they sometimes they punk me because what you said about my physique. I really appreciate it. I love you even more now. So thank you. But at one point, like 2 years ago, no, it must have been a bit more because I was still doing equips. It's been a while. I think it was in Denver, Colorado. I come at the weigh-in and everybody's there. Like even Carl Ingvar Christensen was still there. Carl Ingvar was there. Joe Capolino was there. And I come there and I was a big dude. I was weighing 145 at the time. And I'm coming there and there's this guy weighing in and he's like, yeah, no, the 120's already passed.
No, really?
I was like, dude, you playing me for real? Like I'm in the +2. And he was like, oh, okay. Well, here's your number. Just sign these papers and wait for the weigh-in. I was like, yeah, shh. And I was like, yo, but it's true. It's you see, the plus, you have some freaks out there, and I say that with the most respect, is that they're freaks of nature. Like they, honestly, I weigh 155, and for me that's like, okay, I want to gain more weight, but I honestly don't understand how you can be this strong and do these types of competitions when you weigh 190. It seems like a real struggle though. Like, so bravo for, Ray and Jezza. Like, whew, it must be really hard. I think it's part of the, a lot of times people say to me like, oh, you're lucky you don't have to cut weight. Hey, wait, player. Like, wait, because, we, these big boys have to weigh this weight and it's not easy. Honestly, it's not easy.
What I wanted to add to your consistent to the thing you said about consistency, I agree 100%. I think if you just keep on training, keep on competing, at one point in life there's a chance you wouldn't have if you stopped training 2 years before, something like that. I mean, if you're competing for 10 years and in the 11th year there would be the chance to take a medal, and you stop after 10 years, you never get the medal,
No, it's true, and then I'm going to implement on that. Like, it's not a sprint. Like, I didn't came into the league like a Luke Richardson or just a wonder child. Like, I was just a normal kid. I was just building, and that's kind of what I'm doing right now. And I think a lot of people are doing that. And then at a certain point, I honestly believe, me personally and other people too, will come to a certain point that there will be with the best of the world, because it just, consistency. And what if you're not a wonder child? I would have loved being 18 years old and squatting 400 kilo like it's an empty bar, but it wasn't like that. I believe it will give me great satisfaction when I do it at 34, 35, 36. It's I think it's
Yeah,
cool.
you're totally right. I mean, there's but most of those kind of wonder kids, they drop out of the sport really fast. They drop. You think, okay, why did they stop? Why did they stop competing? Why did they stop training for powerlifting and getting better and better and better? And that's the difference. If you talk to people who are in the sport for 10 or more years, and they're competing their whole life, it's different. You can learn everything.
True.
Every sentence they say, every phrase is important for your training.
True. And also your body, muscle memory, you learn your body to adapt, and that happens over time. If you get strong really, really fast, maybe you don't know, but maybe they struggle with injuries, with big time injuries, or just with health issues. Because
Right.
a lot of these wonder children, they do not last that long. Like sometimes, oh, look, this 16-year-old is gonna, he's gonna whoop my ass in a year or two. But then like a year or two after, you're like, hey, remember that kid? Where's he at? Like, gone, and to never come back. And that's a shame. Like, I prefer having a lengthy career and enjoying the sport to the fullest than to be a wonder child at 16, 17 and then never be seen or heard from again.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you make a living out of powerlifting right now?
Yes and no. Does it make me a rich man? No, not at all. It's okay. It's okay. But I gotta be honest. My dad has a company, and I could work for him when I want. So when it's full on blown season, I just do powerlifting, and then for the rest, I work with my dad. He gave me a real cool job. My parents are also very supportive, so they've been behind me 100%. So it's really. Before I worked for ICTS, which is International Consultants of Target Security. It was some sort of anti-terrorism program. We traveled a lot, early mornings, long days, and it's not easy. So I do respect. Sometimes when you see on the IPF Worlds or IPF EPF Europeans, you see some people's jobs, and when you see that some people have like these really hard jobs, like working in construction stuff, or being a firefighter or a policeman, or stuff that you really need to invest time in. I'm like, wow, like combine it. It's not easy. It's not easy at all.
I'm making no. I mean, for example, what is your daddy doing? I mean, what is his company?
Well, he used to be. Well, long story short, he used to be in the army. He hurt himself severely, so they made him push papers. He didn't want to do that. So at the time here in Brussels, there's a lot of stuff going on, like NATO, European Commission. There's a lot of stuff going on. And he started a limo and taxi company, and he made it grow big. Like, he has lots of drivers, and I'm in charge of. I'm kind of doing HR and just some lower management stuff, because he don't want to put me in charge. He knows I'm a bit crazy sometimes, but no, he just, and I help him out. Honestly, I gotta say though, like, I help him out a lot. Like, I wake up every morning at 5:36. I go to the company, help him out. Sometimes I drive myself. I do a full-time job, but the only thing is, like, especially like with Nauru, like, we knew 3-4 weeks in advance. They said, look, we're going to fly you out to the end of the world. And it was really easy to go to my dad and just say, hey, look, man, can I take some time off? 2 weeks, I'm going to go to Nauru. And when your dad is in charge, you can go. Well, my previous job, when I was working, that was not possible. You in your request in advance, and that's the easiest thing, actually. Like, that's great.
That's super cool. Because for example, the job I'm doing, it allows me to do everything I want to. I can. It allows me to go there. It allows me to go to all the championships as a coach or as an athlete. Or I can, for example, I can just research the whole day about powerlifting, training, biomechanics, everything, just to put it together and put it on a platform and so on. So I think that if you for example, if you just love the sport, you have to arrange your life around this sport, you know.
Yeah, true. And we're getting more and more possibilities. Powerlifting is growing and it's growing fast, and it's going in a good direction for sure. They're making good decisions, and I believe that people will make a lot of money with this sport. But I also got to be honest, I'm really happy that I have a normal job too, because
Yeah.
I love sport and I love being an athlete, but I also love the other aspects of life. Like I don't want to be 100% powerlifting. Well, I am 100% powerlifting. Don't get me wrong, but I know life is really, really important for me too. Like my girlfriend, my family, my friends, work. Like honestly, when I worked for that previous company, I had the best colleagues. Like I don't know if they're gonna listen to this, but I absolutely loved those guys and girls. They were amazing. The only I stopped because it was just impossible to combine with sports, and that's when I went to work for my dad. So it was really fun living in different worlds. Being into different stuff. Well, for me personally, like uh, maybe later, but for now, I don't think I wouldn't be a good coach, or I wouldn't be a good gym owner, because I really want to be an athlete. And I think just getting my mind off things with a normal job, or just other stuff, it helps me. It helps me just to clear my head, and because I actually consider, some people go to the gym to relax. Like I go to the gym to work. Like I'm there to make it happen. So it gives me way more stress than anything else in life does, because it's number one. That's number one. But I honestly do love, you know, for a great example, I think is Emil Nortling. I don't know if I pronounced that boy's name well, but I've seen that he's a firefighter. I think it would be super cool, but I also think it must be really, really, really hard to combine. But he makes it happen because he's a world-class athlete. But you see, he has a lot of fun, with his colleague stuff and too. And I used to have that too, big time. And I think it's a real plus. But then sometimes you hear these Norwegian lifters, they work on this oil drilling platforms out in the middle of the ocean. Like that must be hard. That must be hard. So I'm never gonna complain. Like honestly, I work hard for my dad, but he when I need time off, he just gives me time off, and I think it's a real it's a real gift. So.
But I also think that, especially for athletes, it's good that you have life out of powerlifting. Because I recently talked to one of my athletes, and he told me, "Yeah, you're lucky, you make a living out of your hobby, but then your hobby stops, or I used to go to the gym and have my time off and have my time for me and just focus on my training. But this stops when you start working in powerlifting."
True. And on that point, you also have some part of the powerlifting world. Like when I'm sitting at a World Championship, European Championship, Western European Championship, and you come up and talk with me, I'm gonna talk about everything. Like I'm gonna talk about what you're wearing. Like if you're wearing flip flops at the banquet, I'll be like, "Woo! Like what do you have on?" Like I'm gonna talk about different stuff. And I do notice that some people in powerlifting world can only talk about that. You just I like talking about other stuff too. Just it's relaxing. I like to get to know people, talk about different stuff. I think it's really important. But especially with the young generation who's coming in, you have a few that know only powerlifting, and I do think they need to chill out a bit sometimes to just do something else, because I think it's good for you. It give you a new impulse in training too. Because if you're all in, sometimes you just gotta take a break, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Totally right about that.
Okay, Steve. Peter, do you have any questions left?
No, I don't think so. Probably and now it's hard to tell because it's Corona and all this bullshit. But probably, what's your plan for the next 1 or 2 years?
Well, the big plan was actually to go back to Equipped and to qualify for the World Games. That was on my mind. That was really on my mind. I really want to do the World Games. And if they ask me where my heart is, like my heart is with my first love. It's with Equipped, but I love Raw too. So I'm in the next 2 years. I'm going to be real honest with you. What I want to do is I want to grow. I'm 155 now. I kept my physique. I want to make it better, but I want to grow. I want to weigh at least 165 or maybe touch 170 in like a few years, and then see what that makes me do. And the big player. I want medals, man. Like I want to be a white Mr. T. I want you next time, like when you see me in 5 years, I'll be full of medals. Like that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. I want to keep enjoying this. I want to keep meeting people, and I But I got some numbers on my mind. I believe I shouldn't tell them because it would jinx me. But honestly, maybe people don't see me coming, but I'm coming for that top spot. Like I really want that top spot. Like I want it. I'm bloodthirsty for it. Like
Yeah, and honestly, this year at Europeans, it was that close.
sure, man, I got played big time. Like I did not see that coming. Like I was like, whoa.
Alex and I were sitting in the audience and what's happening now? What's happening now?
that was crazy. Truth be told, I wasn't at my best yet. I had just recovered. I was only getting my way back, but it was a great competition. And honestly, props for him for taking that medal away from me. I was like, wow, like great. He wasn't very talkative. Like I went to him. He wasn't very talkative, but I really think he appreciated it. And I got to be honest, I appreciated him doing that because it made me more focused. Like I'm gonna learn, and not only in Europe, man. Like I don't know, I like Worlds. Like I'm curious. I hope Worlds is gonna pass in September, October. I'm curious who's gonna come. There's a lot of strong people out there, and it's gonna be great. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing you guys because I'm not joking. I'm gonna come to Austria, give you guys hugs and kisses, all of it. Like I got so much love for you. So
that would be super cool. When you coming to Austria, I try to be back on track a little bit more again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you're already back on track. You hit an awesome after injury PR today.
So what'd you do, man? Tell us, man.
This is a kind of, I'm struggling with squats and deadlift and bench since 2 years because of
since life,
since life.
Finishing
but for 2 years I couldn't, or for 1.5 years I couldn't lift anything because of my hip and my back. It was like, and for example, I didn't want to accept that I'm injured. I just tried. Okay, I will squat again. It doesn't work because I'm twisting. My whole movement was off.
Mm-hmm.
And then in late fall last year, I just made the decision and say, okay, I have to change that and rebuild the whole thing from, let's say, from zero on. Okay, and Peter helped me a lot with that, and. Yeah, now I'm doing some, a lot of safety bar squats now, and I'm not twisting at all. So my back is straight. This is the first time for the last 10 years I'm not twisting like this or something like that, And
that's good.
I don't know. The numbers are shit, but I still did kind of a 200 kilogram safety bar squat. I think 2 weeks ago. This is nothing, but I think my best safety bar squat was 190 before the injury.
That's good, man. That's good. We're breaking a big number.
I'm the worst safety bar squatter ever in the whole world, But it feels good, I feel my muscles and not my joints. I feel just kind of. I feel it again, I feel squats. I just go into it and I stand up and it's like, oh man, this was a squat. It was not I was not hurting myself, It was not just a struggle. It felt like squatting again, and everything. And my whole day is changing when I can squat again,
I'm really happy to hear that, and I wanna step in on that. Like when I saw you for the first time, Martina asked you to marry her because it was like the first time we met, or at least that I remember that we met.
Oh.
And
this was my last girlfriend. Sorry.
then you cut this out then. Like
no, you can leave.
But no, I'm gonna come to the point when I met you. Like, look, you talk about physique. When I saw you, man, I was impressed. Like, you got that physique going on. Like, you look strong. So I honestly believe if you get your stuff together and you find your groove, you're gonna do big things, man. Never forget, you came to steal deadlift medals like that. You just came and take them away from us. Like, what was that all about? You just first you introduced, you just swept in and you just took some medals. That's great, man. You're strong.
Yeah, when I really love it again. I always loved it, but now it's just. It's good to be, it's good to do the things again.
It is. It honestly is, man. And you know, you guys got a great group going on. I met a few guys of guys and girls from your team. Like you know, you seem to be a good bunch. Honestly, they support me a lot. Like whenever I post something or I make a story on Instagram or something, they're the first ones to reply and be like, "Yeah, come on, let's go." And you know, having that solid core behind you, I think a lot of you can really make it to the world top.
Yeah.
Maybe if they're I don't know if they're talented or not, but because they have such a support base and such a great team to fall back to, like I think you guys are going to push them. You know, you guys are doing great stuff. Like a lot of people can learn from you. A lot of people can learn from you.
Thank you, man. I mean, before we end that, I have to say that all the best from Martina, and she loves you too, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I love it. You guys are
Cannot
amazing.
wait to see you again.
It will happen. Like honestly, I travel a lot. Like as soon as the borders open, I hope it's this summer. You know, there's a direct train or there's a flight, whatever. I'm coming to see you guys. I promise.
Really looking forward to that.
Really looking forward. Yeah.
Thank you for this, guys.
Okay.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
And stay
Thank you for
safe.
your time.
You guys,
Thank you very much.
love you.